Travis Wingetzel. Let's get to Stanford's latest comment on Goliath and David and King Saul and Whirlwind and Verily, Verily, and these are a few thoughts and more to come. So, before we begin, I have to explain to new people who come to just one video of mine after all these years, after all the 8.5K plus videos. If you actually read your Book of Mormon and you understood what you read, you would learn that we're supposed to be Jewish, not Christian. Christianity is the great and abominable church of Lucifer, that Joseph Smith says is all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. And therefore, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not Joseph's church. The Book of Mormon does not belong to them. They are stealing money from the Jewish religion, from the Mormons who are supposed to be Jewish. They are robbing God. They need to give it all back. But because they're evil, they don't want to. Make us, Travis. Yeah, they're in defiance. They refuse to admit the truth. They refuse to be good. They refuse to repent. And they refuse to restore the damages. The scriptures prophesy of the fall of the great and abominable church, and that they are to transfer it to the rightful Jewish Christ. Yet they have turned it into, they're going to give it to Jesus when he shows. But there's a problem with that. Nelson came out and said, in a coming day, Jesus will come for the second coming as the millennial Christ. And Mormons came back from vacation and found out a month later that Nelson had said that. And then Mormons, or one Mormon who does a YouTube channel, was given information from another YouTube channel creator who had found from a mission website by Sister Jessica of a posting of her mission president's letter to parents and stake presidents way back in 2020. March 14th was when Oaks talked to the mission presidents and told them that the second coming of Jesus was going to be in 2024, just as Nelson told us it was supposed to be. However, the Jesus Christ that Mormons believe and conceive in their minds has not yet shown. So what do Mormons do with that? Well, they've gone silent on talking about the second coming of Jesus. That's what they've done. They're now talking about ignoring it and talking about other stuff. Oh, changes to the temple. Holland said so, and it was coded, and I'm making this up to get popular, but I'm sure he said it. Mormons have to create sensationalism for this church, rather than admit that the prophets are false. There's no Jesus. He didn't show, Mormons. I know, it's humiliating. Just ask the Seventh-day Adventists. They moved on too. and just pretended it never happened. There have been a numerous amounts of people rising up to say, I'm Jesus. And all of them have failed. Even Jesus failed. And that's where I'm going to have to talk about it when we talk about Passover next week, or next month, which most likely will be tomorrow. And so, barring other massive news videos, and whether it be Trump ICE 2025 or Nelson with the Friday night news dump, or maybe Judge Shelby will finally make a judgment on the church and say, no, tithing is criminally being used. Or he'll say, church is true, nothing to see here, move along. That's the more likely one. Nonetheless, conference is next weekend. And as a result, Mormons are staying far, far away from my channel. YouTube has rigged the algorithms to keep people far, far away from my channel. Because I'm telling you the truth, and the church isn't. This is what evil people do. They know they're bad, they know they're wrong, and they prove it. And so I have had numerous thumbs downs, hate comments, death threats, and all around false testimonials of people who just don't know Mormonism. Not even Christian Mormonism. Mormons don't know it. The scriptures, especially the Book of Mormon, told you you have to study line upon line. It takes time. There's a lot of stuff. And as I have experienced, and as Stanford is experiencing, in the beginning, you learn one level of understanding, and then as you gain more knowledge and intelligence, you go back and you find more stuff there that you didn't see before. And you keep that process going. And so, yes, Stanford lately has been feeding me, and then I feed him, and then back and forth. So the majority of you who have never really bothered to study, you've just had your spiritual witness feelings that I'm wrong. All of this is foreign to you. You don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. It sounds like the devil to you. And you have no clue that that was prophesied, that you would say that in the Book of Mormon. 3 Nephi chapter 2. Should we read it? We shall, because there's signs in the heavens, and Mormons are fulfilling it live. Live fulfillment of prophecy in progress. And it came to pass that thus passed away the 95th year also, and the people began to forget those signs and wonders which they had heard, and began to be less and less astonished at a sign or a wonder from heaven. Insomuch that they began to be hard in their hearts and blind in their minds. Laban, naughty Laban, in charge of the treasury, naughty Laban, and began to disbelieve all which they had heard and seen, imagining up some vain thing in their Laban, that it was wrought by men and by the power of the devil. Yeah, that's tomorrow. The devil's horns on the devil's horse. Total eclipse of your heart. Should we do that for the theme song? I think so. I think so. Total eclipse of the heart. It's a common one when there's an eclipse going on. We've had several of them over the latter days that are now over with. We're waiting for the winding down and dissolution of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But will they take the money and run, or will they transfer it to the true Christ so that he can save you in Zion? Inquiring minds don't give a damn. To lead away and deceive the Labans of the people. And thus did Satan get possession of the hearts of the Mormons again, insomuch that he did blind their eyes and lead them away to believe that the doctrine of the Jewish Christ was a foolish and a vain thing. Prophecy fulfilled. Prophecy fulfilled. So sad. I just wanted Zion my whole life. I learned about Zion. I want to go to Zion. I don't like going to school with the white supremacist Christian nationalist peer bullies talking about what they're planning to do when they grow up. Oh, wait, they are all grown up and they're doing it. So say we all. So, in the previous video I just did, talking about Goliath and defining it with Golgotha for skull, it might have sounded confusing as to why I would talk about male appendages as porn. Again, you're down here at this line. I'm way up here. Because it's not technically skull. Not technically. And yes, for Golgotha as well. Because we'll have to redo it in case this is your first time and you missed the one this morning. Why? Why? There has been a shift in our nation because of social media and quick videos that has created or enhanced ADD, which does not exist as a mental retardation. It is forced upon you, which, yes, you can quit cold turkey. You're just used to it because that's now your lifestyle. It is not like doing drugs and quitting cold turkey and going through withdrawal symptoms. But if you have a little 2-year-old or a 4-year-old that you've addicted to social media and quick videos, yeah, they're going to throw a massive tantrum when you take away their phones. Oh, wait, the laws are changing to take away kids' phones. I'm sure that will go over well. Sucks to be a parent. Raise a child in the way they shall go, and when you take it away from them, they'll rebel. And the parents have no one else to blame but the deep state Dems. Those other people. They did it. Not me. I'm innocent. I'm a good parent. You can't judge me. See, back in my day, when I was born, we didn't have cell phones. We had landline phones with a cord. I don't even think they created extension cords yet. And so you had to have the phone where the phone outlet was, and whenever it rang, you had to go to the phone. I don't think it was until the 80s when I saw advertisements for an extension cord so that you can take the phone with you around the house. But my mom, because of Todd having colic as a baby when he was born, needed something for me to do so that she didn't have to do her parental responsibilities. And so they had a TV. I'm sure it was color. Maybe. And sat me in front of it, and so Sesame Street became my educator while Mom spent all of her days 24/7 with Todd. And so I grew up learning from television, learning from music in the summer of 1982. And that's right, I do need, because oh my God, we're not prepared. I got distracted while I was developing the 1982 summer stuff. And so, yes, it was, oh wow, this is all tying together here. This is amazing. Cool. So I did at least get 1982 calendar downloaded. Where did I put it? This file. Alright, there it is. Yeah, wow, this is fascinating. Okay. Interesting coincidence. Amazing. That's my prophetic associative memory. Sesame Street taught me to use associative memory for everything. One of these things is not like the other. And so the matching game, yeah, bored, next. And so board games, yeah, I became a whiz at board games. You know, Clue, yeah, okay. 3 moves, done, got it. Professor White in the kitchen with a lead pipe. Done, next. Bored. And my brother Todd would go on to try to figure out Axis and Allies as to how to defeat Germany, if you know anything about the board game. And so he spent days and months role-playing by himself. How can I beat Germany? And he thought he finally figured it out. And so he says, I figured out how to beat Germany. Okay, whatever. So I get to play Germany, and no, he fails. And so we switch. Oh yeah, well you do it then. Okay. Oops, I beat Germany. On the first move. I don't understand why World War II took so long. Hilarious. And so, yes, everything associative memory, because I just got sick and tired and fed up with our school systems forcing us to memorize textbooks that the teacher would parrot at the classroom and do hours-long homework assignments to just memorize and regurgitate on tests to show how good of a memorizer we are so that we can be a contestant on Jeopardy. That is not intelligence. Summer Glau in Firefly. They set her up saying, oh, she's so smart. They did something to her in the lab, and now she's super, super smart. And so then the script kicks in when she finally talks. And I'm just going, oh my God. Let's skip ahead to the movie where she has powers. Although I did see the episode yesterday where she is able to see where the guys are that are shooting at him, and then she grabs the gun from Jewel State, who's a coward and doesn't want to shoot him. And boom, 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 gone. But anyway. So yes, lots of stories about games because of my associative memory. I could even go on to talking about Rusty's Pizza in Corona, where I worked as a delivery driver of pizza in competition with Domino's. 30 minutes or less for Domino's. And so yeah, I get the comments often. So if you take longer than 30 minutes, it's free. No, that's Domino's. Did you pay the wrong people? But Rusty's Pizza had an arcade game. You know, this was before streaming first-person shooter games that are training the sleeper cells here in America against America. Double Dragon. And so Mason had believed that he had mastered the game. He knows exactly how to defeat anybody, and it had an option in there to do a one-on-one battle with somebody. And so I had been playing the game, and I had figured out how to go through the whole game to get to the end and free the woman who was chained up in the dungeon at the end, and get her down, and she comes and gives me a big kiss. Woo! And all on one quarter. And so Mason thought he's better than me. Because, again, white supremacist Christian nationalists have to play king of the hill. If somebody else looks bigger and tougher than them, they challenge them to a blood match to the death. What the hell is going wrong with you guys? Anyway, you know, and not to mention that the movies were coming out for that. Best of the best of the best of the best, 27. Blood match. Ninja assassin. Mortal Kombat. Utah Saints. Utah Saints. And so, yeah, he challenged me, and oops. He was so mad. He was wanting to blame the game for not working correctly. I'm surprised he didn't say I cheated. I had told him that I'd figured out and got through on 1/4 by doing the backward elbow the whole way through. And then in Placentia, my dad had got me an Osborne IBM compatible computer, and I had obtained some games on a floppy disk. And one evening after school, I just played the game, and I was going. I was breaking the record. I was going. It was awesome. And then Mom comes and says, "Travis, it's time for dinner. Stop the game." "But Mom, dinner can wait." The high score cannot. So you see where I'm talking about if you're going to take away your kids' phones. Good luck with that. Even if you do it under the cloak of porn, that will make it worse. Just hilarious. Fun times. And so yes, these videos are on storage devices. Not like it matters that anybody will be watching these ever again when the internet is taken down and YouTube is destroyed because of DEI hiring practices. Which I'm surprised Trump hasn't gone after him yet. You know, like Google guy bribed Trump, and so maybe that's why Trump is backing off on YouTube, but still. It's there in San Francisco. That's the headquarters. It was at the beginning of the latter days when there was the employee who got fired and she was, or no, well, it could have been that too. YouTube used to piss people off, and they would come and shoot up the building there in San Francisco. So yeah, I remember one creator got pissed with YouTube and went and blew them up, and then I think an employee also got fired and was upset and came and blew everybody up. Surprised nobody made it a Hallmark movie. Which now is Netflix and Hulu, but they're too busy doing Mormon murder movies. Oh my hell. So anyway, 1982. I had just become a deacon, and it would have been on the 21st of March, the Sunday, because his birthday was on the 17th. And so yes, there's a sign in the heavens for becoming a deacon. I don't know if I've done that video for you. I don't know if I have it in my files. We can quickly check. My signs in heaven. No. I have the baptism, I have the patriarchal blessing, and mission. Or not, well, the temple. And then, of course, the birthday, the sign in the heaven, the conception, as well as the birth, and the sign in the east, signifying my birth. But I don't have 1982. So I guess we could check. Becoming a deacon. 14th of March, 1982. So we'll have to do that after the video is done. And so, being in a deacon's quorum now, they had activities down there in Southern California. This is what I was hoping to do, and get the pictures all set up. They're somewhere in the files. I don't know if they're labeled correctly to find them quickly, and I'll just have to redo them anyway. In Southern California, we had the San Gorgonio, San Bernardino mountain ranges that were near to us. They have hiking trails. You can go to the top of the peaks, get the 5 Peaks Award, which, yes, I did. I have been to the top of the mountain. It is awesome up there. I could breathe finally from all the pollution that I could see down below. Thank God. And then I find out that Utah's worse. Oh my hell. And so yes, I'm sure you guys have seen me shedding. I mean, this right here, that's from the shedding that drew blood. Yeah, this place is a death pit. We need to get out of here. I want Zion. Cut it out, Mormons. Quit being obstinate and let's get going. I mean, oops, I should have remembered. If I take away your church, then you're gonna be... you're gonna be a brat. Now I know what I've been doing wrong. I should have been luring you with candy to get you away from the church. Mormons leave the church for candy. I dated Candy. I liked her, and then she dumped me off in the older singles ward while she was hitting on the older men. Notice how I'm staying away from explaining Golgotha and Goliath with male appendages. We're saving that for last. I am hoping that Stanford's comment won't take me that long, because we're already at 33 minutes into the video. And so, we have activities as boys. Girls, no, they come over to my mom's house to learn how to crochet. Laura, don't surprise me like that. Don't you know I have a crush on you? Think of Laura, laugh but don't cry. I know she want it that way. Whoa. Christopher Cross. And so, school ended for us in May. And so, the church, knowing this, wanting to keep kids activated and somewhat in the church, but not preachy, for the boys anyway, provided us with Boy Scouts, and provided us with male bonding activities, which had no interest for me. But getting up into the mountains, yeah, awesome. Love nature. And so, one of the locations, which I don't know if I could ever find it, but we go on a day hike up to the top of the mountain. My first time, and I'm loaded up with canned goods. Apparently my parents have never been out in nature doing hikes and stuff, but no, it was awesome for me. My shoulders got so ripped and buff as a little kid. And so, yeah, whatever. Because you're eating it as you go up the mountain, and so that at the end it's light again. But anyway. And so, yeah, it was an awesome time, because this was the only time where my parents would actually get me beef jerky and snacks for the trip. Because they aren't going to do it regularly, not even for my birthday. Not even for Christmas. Easter, yeah, candy. That's the one time of the year we get candy. I want candy. And so I have to raid the sugar, raid the chocolate chips, raid the marshmallows, if they're not going to buy me candy. Literally. My DNA came out and said, candy does not do anything to me. And yeah, I already knew that. But anyway, my DNA company has now gone bankrupt, and I've had to delete my data to prevent them from selling it to a specter organization like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who will make super soldiers out of my DNA. Or Terminators. And so, yeah, I take the brown sugar, the white sugar, and marshmallows, chocolate chips, all dump them in a bowl with a spoon right before the TV. It's awesome. And so, no, the sugar does not affect me. See, here I'm drinking water and I'm hyper. Yeah! Water! What did they put in this water? Did they take out the fluoride? and so, on the 5th, Saturday, newly deacon, as I only had one time passing the sacrament on the 28th, and they forced me to be there because deacons get priority to pass the sacrament. We had others, teachers and priests, and even Melchizedek priesthood holders in my ward, I remember, that were also sitting there. And so oftentimes after this event, if I saw that it was already full, I just went back to my seat because of what they did to me. In the one and only true church of Second Coming Jesus of love. Not hate, bigotry, white supremacist, Christian nationalist, evil. Not at all. Not in this one only true church. Never. And so, yeah, I'm just a little kid, very timid. Everybody's intimidated by me for my height and size, large in stature, blah, 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 prophecy fulfilled, whatever. Whatever. I don't know anything about that. The church won't teach us. They're teaching Jesus, not the Jewish Christ. And sign in heaven. And so we go, we hike up. It's mostly older kids because I'm a new deacon. And so I eventually get to the top just fine. I'm among the last, but nonetheless, we're there at the top, And immediately the other older boys are ready to come back down. I just got here. This is awesome. And there was a father who was there with his son, who was in my deacon's quorum, but he was older than I was, obviously. And so I wanted to stay. And so I said, yeah, I'll stay. The other two are here. And I didn't realize it until after they had left. Oh crap, I'm now the third wheel of a father-son bonding moment. Oh man. And so I said, hey guys, I'm gonna head on down, see if I can catch them. No. They literally sprinted down the mountain. So even though I was running down the mountain too, there came a point where at the base of the mountain, you had to take a left and go into the labyrinth of the forest to get to the parking lot across the river. It was getting twilight nighttime. I didn't have a flashlight, apparently. Maybe I did, but it didn't seem like it was dark enough for me to use it. But the trail, because I didn't take a left, looked like it kept on going straight. So I kept going straight. And would find myself at the riverbed. Rocks, seer stones, for David to pick up and put in his sling to slay Goliath. See how we're tying it all together here? I know what I'm doing. Trust me. Trust me. And I didn't write down the other thing that happened in 82, did I? Crap. I don't know if I can remember. Oh, right. Yep. My parents' anniversary. Clock radio. 1982. Okay, so now I will not forget. Because that was that weekend after. Because the 10th is their anniversary. And so I walked to the river's edge, and I'm thinking, can I cross it? It was going pretty wild because the winter snow had melted, and so it was a pretty strong current. And so that didn't seem like an option. I looked to my left, and forest wall that I could not penetrate. Try to get through the forest. No, that wasn't going to be an option. It was too thick to walk through the forest. And it was right up to the riverbed. So there wasn't any way to go on the rocks. No. I was trapped. Because to the right, a sheer cliff wall about 100 feet up. At least. Could have been 200. And so I went, oh crap. I can hear they're talking it up, getting in their cars, and driving away. Oh, crap. They abandoned me in the tops of the mountains. Mormons abandoned me in Utah. I'm seeing a pattern. And so I go back up trying to see where I couldn't find it. I can only see the trail going up, and it's now getting too dark, and apparently I didn't have a flashlight or didn't know that I had a flashlight to pull it out and use it, and so I just went, oh crap, well they already left me. No sense in trying to find the road in the dark. And so I did have a sleeping bag with me. That was one thing that I was prepared with. And so I pull out my sleeping bag on the riverbed rocks, and my head is on the rocks. Or is that too high of way down? Okay, whatever. And I then see that the moon is a full moon. That's why I know it's the weekend of the 5th and the 6th, because that's when the full moon was. And so a full moon at the tops of the mountains, the riverbed, rocks. But wait, there's more. In the evening, so I wake up. As while I'm in my sleeping bag, I then hear another car drive off, and I'm going, oh, right, the father and son. I missed them too. I am all alone. So as I'm going to sleep, I'm imagining what I'm going to do tomorrow, the next day on the 6th, Sunday, and how I'm going to find the road and start walking down, and at first I was thinking I'm going to get kidnapped and put into slave trafficking, of having to do manual labor work. Didn't like that, so I changed it to heading all the way south of the border to where the pyramids are and just go exploring. And then I thought, wait a minute, how am I going to eat? But the next morning, I wake up to a bee right in front of my face. A bee. A Deseret bee. I told you there was more. I told you there was a pattern match. I'm a 12-year-old boy, just became a deacon. And here I am, not realizing I am having a prophetic moment. And so the sleeping bag went right back over my head. And so I go back to sleep for who knows how long. And I creep out to make sure the bee was gone. It was gone. So I folded up the sleeping bag, put it back on the backpack, and again went to the river's edge, and up on the other side of the river, my dad sees me, says, "What the hell? The road's over here." Thanks, Dad. And so I go back. Oh, there's the turnoff. Zigzag, and there I am. And so I go and sit in the station wagon passenger seat. Mom had made peanut butter sandwiches, little juice drink things, which, I mean, the throat too dry, oh my hell. And then the park ranger comes to the door and says, "What do you think you were doing? Am I going to be arrested? Am I going to go to prison? So what had happened is there was the tradition in the ward that after such an activity, they go to Carl's Jr. And so I was given $20 to go to Carl's Jr. because we were all told in advance that we would go to Carl's Jr. afterward. So I missed out. The double Western bacon cheeseburger. I missed out. Because, like I said, parents aren't going to do that normally. Only for special occasions like this. And that was it. And that was over. And so the guys are already there. And then when the father and son joined them, they went, oh crap. We left one behind. So they finished their meals. And then drive home. And they apparently they woke up the bishop and they came to my parents. They came to our house. And it's the placentia one. Do I still have that in this file? Because that was the tree branch story that I gave you. It was that house. Yep, there it is. It's the Vic snap I took of it, or the VLC snap, or VLC snap. Hello. So yeah, and I have the little quote. He quoted the 11th chapter of Isaiah, saying that it was about to be fulfilled. Joseph Smith History, verse 40. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. Prophecy fulfilled. The branch, which are all chopped down and put into a little garden landscape thing. Yeah, brand new garage door. Yep. Memories on the corner of my mind. Sunset. Anyway. Let's go back to you. And so I get home, still have to go to church. Not an option. I have to go to church. I don't want to go to church. I was forced to be 100%er. And so I get to church. I don't want to pass the sacrament. It's all full. Go and pass the sacrament. So I replaced one of the other guys who had to leave. And so all of the boys that were there are saying, wow, I can't believe you showed up to church. Wow, if I were you, I wouldn't have come to church. Great. Church is so true. Have to pay tithing so I can't purchase candy. and I have to not eat on fast Sunday, which was that Sunday. I am not allowed to have breakfast. I missed out on Carl's Jr., and then my mom gives me stuff I can't eat because my throat is sore. And now I can't have breakfast because it's Fast Sunday? What the hell kind of church is this? And now I'm getting picked on by my peers for what was not my fault. It was theirs. And so, because of that incident, I am now the legend in Southern California in the once previous federal land, which is under Trump gone, for development purposes. For a Trump tower. As my mom had once called one of the Relief Society women from back in the day, who was still living there, and said, yeah, the Rangers, we went to visit there once, and the Rangers were telling us about this boy who was lost in the mountains this one night, and how we need to stay together in the buddy program and take precautions and be prepared and blah, 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 blah. I am the legend in Southern California in the San Bernardino, San Gorgonio mountain ranges by the former forestry rangers giving tours. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, on the 10th is my parents' wedding anniversary. So my dad, the romantic that he is, bought a brand new clock radio for himself. So Friday, he comes in to my room when he comes home from work and hands me his hand-me-down clock radio that he used to have. And he tries to sell it up by saying, hey, I programmed it to the Dodger station. And what the hell is going on YouTube News? What the hell? They're advertising, can anyone beat the Los Angeles Dodgers this year? As, you know, starting the baseball season. Nobody can beat the Dodgers. Just get over it. They're the best, even back when they were in Brooklyn. Sandy Koufax. And so I was thinking, oh, okay, cool. And so all through the summer into the October, when the Dodgers are going to did they go to the World Series? They at least went to the playoffs, because they always end up challenging the Houston Astros or the San Diego Padres. Those used to be their two big teams in the October months. With Mr. October, which I think he was on the California A's, wasn't he? The California Angels. Wasn't that what team was he a part of? Or did he eventually transfer to that team? who won the World Series in 1982? St. Louis Cardinals. And they were playing the Dodgers. Oh, no. Dodgers won in 81. And so, who did they play? Milwaukee Brewers? Milwaukee. Are we sure this was it? 1982 World Series. While you were sleeping, Travis, Milwaukee, the exotic land. Yeah, Milwaukee Brewers. Huh, so that was unusual. What the hell was going on there? While a Milwaukee team, the Braves, had last contended in 1958. So yeah, they at least made it to the playoffs, but I'm disappointed. I then would come to find out that disco died October 23rd, 1982. This has importance because in September we go back to school. And so I've had my clock radio on, listening to Dodger games. And in September, we start school. I'm sure it was after the, what was it, Labor Day for September. They're on the 6th. And so probably the 13th, we're back in school, I'm guessing. I don't think they would have done it the day after Labor Day. They might have. I don't know. You also need to oh no, that was 1980. Moving on, even though that would have, actually no, it is this summer. No, it was 5th grade, 10th, yeah, 10th. So no, it is not 1982. So yeah, this was could be 7th grade. Yeah, when I went to Tuffrey Junior High. I would have to do the math. Because my birthday being in March meant that I started the school year the previous year. That's why it can be complicated. So anyway, moving on. So yeah, so it was the summer of 1980 where my Goliath occurred. And hopefully you'll all forget about it when I get to it, as we're at an hour already. Oh my hell. But yeah, this has to do with David and Goliath. Prophecy fulfilled. So I get to school in September, and whatever day it was when the new TV series began. We didn't have this starting whenever we wanted during the year. None of that crap. Which I actually prefer. Nonetheless, I don't do streaming services or have programs for that. I have to wait for DVDs to come out. But anyway. And so I'm talking to the kids, what did you do for your summer break? I know what you did last summer. Anybody know that series? Or is it just one movie? I think it's a series now. But anyway. And I tell them, I got a clock radio. I can listen to Dodger games. What music do you listen to? What's music? I know my mom has Elvis records. We got an 8-track of Sean Cassidy when we moved to California. What's music? On the radio, huh? And so when I got home, I am concerned I'm never going to find the Dodger channel again. And so I most likely wrote it down. And they had told me that it was on the FM dial, not the AM dial. So yes, I'm like, is this a sin? And so I'm checking it out. And I'm going, oh, music. What is this? And so yes, while Dodger games are not playing, I now can listen to music while I'm stuck in my room because there's nothing on TV, and my mom says if she sees me, she's putting me to work. Slave labor, remember? It's real. And wouldn't you know it, about a month of learning that there's music on the radio, and I don't get caught up in clicks, whether country or metal or pop. And I would later learn that disco died on the 23rd of October. Bloom County, disco died. They informed me. And so, yeah, none of that. I had no idea that Xanadu was actually playing songs on the radio until this. And I would find out that the actress is a singer who has other songs than those in Xanadu. Like Let's Get Physical. Right, Todd? Hey, Mommy, I found this new song. I like it. It's about sex. It's evil. It's of the devil. And so she scared my brother into never listening to the radio ever again. When, as a result of Tiffany finding out I got a clock radio, what do you want to do, man? I want to. Are you sure you want to take away their cell phone? Are you sure? All these parents who forgot their own childhood. Oh my God. Hilarious. So, let's now finally get to Goliath. G-L-I-T. To simplify it for you guys, this is a picture language in Paleo-Hebrew. And so I don't give a damn about the vowels. The meaning comes from the connection to the Egyptian hieroglyphs for each letter. And so the T, that's the X. That's the latter-day sign of the crossroads over the United States of America for the third day of darkness last year. As this year, I did the video explaining the difference. Or for tomorrow. The I is the Heliopolis creation cliff as a Z, similar to the Greek Zeta, for a reason. Zeus is Z. And then you cut off the Us, and so it's just the letter Z. And you can put the H for the E, which in Paleo Hebrew is the same thing. And so Yah is Zeus. Pictorially the same deity. That's why I don't give a damn about the phonetics. But you understand Yah, I understand Zah. Big difference. They're the same deity. They just tell different stories in the different religions. And so thus Jupiter is Yah Peter. That's why I tell you these things. And I'm supposed to know the prerequisites, and you don't, and you come to one video and you're confused. Okay? So Yah of the crossroads. Yah is defined in the name Ishmael. The name of Yah is Sun God, Emmanuel, the ancient Egyptian sun god at noonday of the David-Moses dynasty, specifically. And so the L is a reverse J-stroke, thus the right arm to the square for covenant. The G is, it's that porn that only men have. And there's Egyptian stories behind it. You know, the Jesus, who is assassinated by his brother Lucifer, who chops up his body into 14 pieces, and then the church sends out missionaries to gather the body parts of Jesus back to Zion, and there's a piece missing, and depending on which story, it explains how the piece went missing. Nonetheless, the church formed the G, and then got on top and had sex, and conceived and bore a son and called his name Horus, Emmanuel, sun god at noonday. And so thus as a bird, symbolic of a sign in the heavens for the date. In the Egyptian documents, the 23rd of September 2017, the conception of Horus. And wouldn't you know it, they even knew the date when he would start the latter-day battle with his uncle, Lucifer, Set, on the 21st of August 2017, the month before. There in the Egyptian documents that not a single PhD Egyptologist ever knew was there and had been there the whole time. So who's a translator? See, this is why it's an hour and 15 minutes into the video, because all of the ones who don't believe are gone. They don't give a damn about the truth. And so they don't get to hear it. Wow, it is only noon. Wow. Weird. It should be like 5, and I should be late for the church news for the bombshell today. And so, yes, the G is just as Dan Brown's original Angels and Demons book before the movie came out and got rid of it, is the phallus symbol, the penis and the testicles. You can see this porn in facsimile number 2, where I've challenged you to count the number of them. How many do you count? Because there's a whole megasplitzel of them. Just porn everywhere. And I've seen non-Mormons do videos about this, and they're freaking out. It's got a penis! The Mormon church has penis all over it! And so, we start at the outer rim. There's 1, 2, 3, potentially 4, 5, and then going up there's 6, 7, 8, 9. Shouldn't be 9, that should be Hathor. So 8, but then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Oh, dear God. All over the place. If this were a YouTube video, it would be banned. Maybe not. Maybe they only worry about women being nude. Dear God. Those are the G's in Paleo-Hebrew. Okay, so putting it together, there are 2 words, 2 two-letter words. Paleo-Hebraeus, or Hebraeus, because I'm the only one who deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. Everybody else is wrong. Think that it's a 3-letter word, G-O-L-I, and then the T is the ending, grammatical termination. And so they're confused as to why Goliath has a female plural ending when it's just a guy. And so that's where, thank God they screwed up Elohim because of the Christians who screwed it up and translated Elohim from the Paleo-Hebrew Gnostic, or not the Gnostic, the Qumran community documents, and turned it into singular because they're Christian. Only one God. And so, yeah, the Jews who then did the biblical Hebrew text kept that abomination. So Joseph Smith was right. It needs to be translated plural all the way through. And so, no, this is not the case with Goliath. It is singular. It has 2 Hebrew words that are 2 letters. The G and the L, the I and the T. So I already went over the I and the T with you. Yah of the latter days, who is the sun god at noonday, giving you the day of when he comes to finish the latter days, to start Zion. And here we are because the enemy decided to do a test run during the Exodus year. We're only going to run a test this year. 2024 is the year when Jesus is coming. Oh my hell. The Jewish Christ is here, and they're playing around about when Jesus is coming, rather than just doing it. Dear God. And so, the male appendage, which, if I were to tell you the one on the outer rim right before the one on the bull. There's a reason why it's translated virile. See, the Egyptians had no shame, no guilt about teaching sex ed to children. It is Christians who are screwing everything up. It's a nightmare. See, the summer or the school year after the summer of 1980, we finally get a sex ed hour where all we saw was the male G as a cartoon dissected. I don't want to see it chopped up, let alone a cartoon of it. I don't want to see it at all. I already know I have it. I already know how it works. I've already had it back in the summer. What did you do for your summer vacation? And so, yes, my mom was now ashamed of me. I ceased to exist in her life. Just like Elvis when he started his drug years. Elvis died during his drug years, before he died of a drug overdose, right? Because he was secreted off to do spy work in Russia. So yeah, my mom just, because she was raised Mormon, men are evil. So, the covenant of the seed. Messiah, ben, son of David. But this is not Messiah ben David. He's the enemy. It's the seed of the false Christ. Say that? He's got the same name. And so, Stanford, if you're listening still, if you endured my childhood history, just like Jeremiah and Zedekiah are the contrasting in Paleo-Hebrew, same here with David and Goliath. David is supposed to be the Messiah, son of David. Goliath is the son of the false Christ. They're playing off of each other here. That's what the Jew is doing when he writes that story. And so no, the baby name meanings, they have no clue and interest in Paleo-Hebrew. They have no clue about Hebrew. They're just going off of, well, he died, and so, what was some of the other? Exiled, giant. Oh, he's a giant. Okay, so Goliath means giant. No! No! Stop it! Oh, he lost, so he was exiled. No! Stop it! Your baby name meaning is what you are to be. Then when you accomplish it, you get a new name. You're giving new name stuff, and they don't give him the new name because he's dead. He failed. And so yeah, you can't trust anybody who gives you a Paleo or a Hebrew baby name meaning. The majority of them are wrong. And you can tell because they default to God when it's supposed to be Yah. They won't tell you Yah. They won't explain Yah, the Hebrew God. That's the simplest of things that they get wrong. They summarize it to God so that people can say, oh, Jesus. No. And so the context relationship, as you're talking about, is about the correct Paleo-Hebrew translation that I just gave you with David. So once you plug that in, then you see the bigger picture of what was going on. See, even though it's Nelson, Trump, and me, we're not actually on the battlefield fighting each other. These are prophecies and revelations, using the sword as the word. I am speaking the word on YouTube videos, trying to get the attention of any who will listen and believe. That is how I am battling in fulfillment of the prophecies. Nelson, likewise, he's the president of the church. He doesn't carry a sword. I don't think he can lift it, especially with his back, since he fell on 9/11. You're welcome, Nelson. I did the countdown. And so, yes, likewise, his words of falsehood. Likewise, Trump, his words of falsehood. It's all a battle of words when the scriptures use physical fighting. And so now you've caught on with sword being the word. And so, yes, Mormons are getting deceived by the false prophet with the false words. Mormons who voted for Trump are now regretting it. And so Mormons, which is just wild, don't see how Trump and Nelson are the false Christ, both promoting Jesus and yet not. And Mormons are waiting for Jesus and do not recognize Nelson as the false Christ and don't recognize Trump as the false Christ, which is the fulfillment of their false interpretation of the Jewish prophecies that have come true through the true Jewish Christ. Words buried in the ground in a box with a messenger horn to place the tithing into. Thank you, that was awesome. In the temple. Will Nelson rob God? Yes, give it back. Does not belong to them. Let's see. David, other thoughts. God described David as a man after his own heart, a man with the heart of God. Yeah, Laban. The Jewish Christ, the man like Moses, the great high priest, king of kings. Wow. Goliath was certainly revealed as the imposter. It's talking about the fall of the great and abominable church and the fall of the United States of America. As the church, Oaks got leaked, is in charge of Trump. They're giving him orders through this Council for National Policy. The people in that group are the ones telling Trump what to do, and the church is in charge of that group, telling them what to do. Project 2025 came from Oaks because of all the legal stuff involved. Mark Skousen is the messenger for the church to this group to tell Trump what to do. And so, at a lower level, revealed as the imposter because you're using the wrong baby name meaning. Use the correct one now, and then you'll go, whoa, more stuff. King Saul, the first king of Israel. Who was Saul, really? This is the same situation, and it depends, because, again, every story is a segment. So, for example, the Book of Mormon, you have Lehi at the beginning, and then he dwelt in a tent, End of story. Now you're starting a new story with the next verse and going from there. And then Nephi is introduced. He's now the Christ, not Lehi. Lehi is dead. Nephi is now in charge. And so the taking everything to the city of Nephi as it becomes, and they build the Solomon temple, and that's Zion. That's what I've been trying to tell people we need to get to in the coming day. Fabric softener. And strong. Interesting. And so the Book of Mormon, with my associative memory and prophetic memory, is able to give me visions and dreams and words as to how to build, design, and create it after I got the keys from Hinckley in the dream in 2008. And so it depends on which segment of Saul's story you're talking about. Because Saul, I am willing to bet the S is the Osiris symbol S, not the water symbol S. I could check, since this is what we're doing, and who cares if it's 10 hours long. Saul. Genesis 36-37. But we probably want, but understand that is why, because I'm seeing Samlah, and so that's the other S for Shem, for name. Saul and Rehoboth, that's Jesus's wife, by the river reigned in his stead. And so, yeah, interesting. But that's Genesis. So let's scroll down to Samuel. There we go. And Samuel is the name of God. The name of God is Ammon. So Samuel the Lamanite, Ammon, the god Ammon, and he's speaking words and nobody believes and they want to murder him. So, oops, there we go. 1 Samuel chapter 9, verse 2. Okay, so let's go to Blue Letter Bible and confirm. Because I'm seeing the Shualites in Numbers 26 of Shual, of the Shualites. Yeah, Google sent me a death threat saying that Windows 10 is going to be obsolete soon. You will no longer have access to the internet, Travis. Pay for a new system or die! Oh, he's a choice young man. And a goodly. Goody two shoes, goody two shoes, don't drink, don't smoke, what do you do? Oh, I'm Mormon, we don't drink and smoke too! Adamant! Had no idea about adamant. Until adamantian comes around, doesn't. Adamant. Refusing to be persuaded or to change one's mind. Perfect! See how I can tie it all together. Shemu, Shmoo. What's that word? And he had a son whose name, Shmoo. Kish. Oh, 2, right. And there's good. Oh, no, it is. Oops. Interesting. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, I was wrong. And it is in context. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. No, it is the water symbol. It is the water of God. And so earth would be the waters below for the creation. The waters above, waters below. Sol is the waters below for Geb, the dry land coming up. Interesting. So yes, he does have a direct connection to the Christ through that way rather than Osiris. Wow. And so yeah, the El for God, the God of the lower waters, thus Geb. For the G, it does tie in. Cool. So I'm glad I checked. And so it depends on when. And so you see, as Saul failed and was removed as king, in a later story, as David is now introduced, Saul becomes like Goliath, and David is now the Christ. The author is just changing the character roles, reintroducing characters as a different character. If you've never seen a TV show that does that. Stargate does that. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Jewel State, isn't it? Where she's one of the creatures that transformed into primitives. No, it's Star Trek. Jewel State was not. State. So let's go to her filmography. It would be the movie or the TV shows. Are You Afraid of the Dark? She was Kelly, and then she was Cody. So she's switched roles the very next year for that. So she was Kelly in the episode The Tale of the Watcher's Woods, and then she was Cody in The Tale of the Unfinished Painting. I've never seen Are You Afraid of the Dark? I have no idea what that is. I was in Canada. They don't have TV in Canada. She was in X-Files. In the Oubliette. Ooh. Interesting. And let's see. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. There was a TV show of it. Only 5 episodes, though. No wonder I didn't see it. Da Vinci's Inquest. She was 13 episodes in that one. Let's see. Mortal. Firefly. Stargate Atlantis. That's right. Yeah, she was a wraith, a hybrid wraith, created in a lab. The daughter created hybrid as Elia in the episode Instinct and Stargate. Oh my God, I knew. Oh my God. And then she became Jennifer Keller after the space rock struck them as they were trying to lift off into outer space. Or no, that was the explosion one. Oh, right. The explosion in the lab. Yeah. That was another disaster. That was, oh my God. I just watched it last year after Star Trek. Oh my God. I need to watch them again. And so, yeah, she plays different roles. That's the same thing that's being done by the Jewish authors. And so Samson, you have different stories of Samson, but they're all different prophecies of the latter days. You can't consider them one narrative together. Can't do that. So same with David and Saul and the Goliath introduction and all that stuff. So Saul in the beginning is the Christ, and then he falls as Goliath to David. So Saul is Goliath when David is introduced, when he refuses to obey. It's better to obey than to sacrifice. Yeah, he wanted to sacrifice rather than obey. And it was cows for the transfer of authority. Nobody catches that. And so much like Brigham, so yeah, but Brigham was never the good guy. He was always bad. He was always the false prophet. So he's at the end story of Saul. And David the innocent, the white. Laban. Code word Laban. The one who petitioned, who asked, loaned, grave, one who begged. So yeah, I gave you the baby name meaning there. And whirlwind, Jeremiah scripture you read, yep. And that's where the theme song in the description below came from. KK's priest, reap the whirlwind. Behold, the storm of the Lord has gone out with fury, a whirlwind swirling down upon the heads. You notice I'm not being cyber terrorized after Mondays all day. Yeah, something happened after doing videos after that Monday. I'm not sure what, but yeah, he was upset with me that day for the videos that I did over the weekend. And it doesn't make any sense. I know these kids. I know their mentality. I know them as adults now. I see exactly what they're doing, and it doesn't make any sense. They're not logical, and they're purposely doing that. They're causing anarchy on purpose to destroy and just trash everything. And yet they have this mindset that they want things the way they want them. And they don't understand about consequences. And it's just so exceedingly frustrating that they don't get it. That they voted for Trump for change, and now that Trump is making the changes, it's affecting their lives and ruining them and destroying them, and they don't like it, and they're pissed with Trump. But that's what you wanted. Just not for you. Evil is stupid, literally. They are incapable of giving agency to others, to letting people live their lives, have life, liberty, and property. They can't do it. It just froths them at the mouth. Their head spins around. They levitate above the bed. Just like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The church is destroying America so that they can get their kingdom back, but when the consequences mean they don't get their kingdom and they fall, they're going to be pissed. This is not what we wanted. When? You shouldn't have done it. You should have just transferred it to me and stayed in Utah while I go and build Zion for the faithful believers. And they won't do it. They will never admit they're wrong. They will never admit they're the enemy. I've exposed them. And they're pissed. But they will never admit it. They will never say they're sorry. They will never repent. They will never restore the damage that is irreparable. They will never be good. It cannot be done. And it's just, they think that they've gone so far that there's no turning back. There's no redemption for them. And they call what they're doing righteousness. Dear God, it was scary as a kid, and now they're all grown up and doing it. Let's see. And so Purim is what I was catching from that when reading it. And the consequences of their actions. The law of Purim from Deuteronomy 19:19. False accusers get the punishment themselves. Esther. This reminded me of immediately D&C 112, 24-26. With the whirlwind that shall begin from my house, it shall go forth. Yeah, 2008. Wasn't it? Or 2000, when was the tornado? I guess it was 2000. Or 1999? I think it was 1999. Because, yeah, the church was still redesigning Temple Square to get the conference in as well. When was the tornado in Utah? August 11th, 1999. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. First, among those of you, the 12. This revelation was given to Joseph Smith regarding the 12 on the day on which the gospel was first preached in England. This is a forged document. They fled the country. They had failed to get rid of Joseph. As they moved their headquarters because of Thomas B. Marsh and the extermination order of Governor Boggs to Commerce, which is hilarious because that was the same name that Brigham Young had changed to Regent Street. It was Commerce Avenue, Commercial Avenue. Brothels, Danites. And they did it in Missouri, or Illinois. Commerce was changed to Nauvoo. But yeah, okay, wait a minute. No, this is July 23rd, 1837. So this is legitimate. Okay, so no, they're not going to England. Where are you seeing England from? Thomas, I've heard thy prayers and thine alms, a memorial up to me, that chosen to bear the testimony of my name and send it abroad into all the nations, kindreds, tongues, people. Is that what you're thinking, that it was England? Some few things in mine heart, and with thee, with which I, Lord, am not well pleased, inasmuch as thou hast not abased thyself, thou shalt be exalted. Sins are forgiven thee. Let thy heart be of good cheer before my face. The name, Gentiles, but also unto the Jews. I just caught that. This church have had forged documents that they say that first to the Gentiles, then to the Jews. I'd have to do more research on that. But here Joseph is saying both at the same time, Jews and Gentiles. Both. The Book of Mormon says it's for both Gentiles and Jews. Both Christians, Jews, Islamists. Both at the same time. But Brigham Young was doing first to the Gentiles, then to the Jews. Nelson is talking about that, quoting from Brigham Young and his forged documents about that first to the Christians, then after the Christians reject the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, then we go to the Jews, whom we've hired to be assassinated through Islam. I'm sure that will go over well. And so, pray for thy brethren of the 12, admonish them sharply for my name's sake, and let them be admonished for all their sins. So Joseph is already realizing that the 12 are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then they become the false brethren of his Liberty Jail documents. Amen to the priesthood. Feed my sheep. Peter, do you agape me? Yep. See, I'm catching stuff here. And it's taking me off course. Darkness cover the earth, gross darkness the minds of the people. All flesh has become corrupt before my face. Vengeance cometh speedily upon the inhabitants of earth. The day of wrath, day of burning, day of desolation, day of weeping, the abomination of desolation, mourning, lamentation, whirlwind, it shall come on all the face of the earth, that you're quoting from. Church in this place, believe them be baptized, not baptized be damned. For unto you the 12, and those the first presidency, who are appointed with you to be your counselors and your leaders in the power of this priesthood given for the last days, for the last time in which the dispensation of the fullness of times, which power you hold in connection with those who have received the dispensation at any time from the beginning of creation. For verily I say unto you, the keys of the dispensation which you have received have come down from the fathers, and last of all, being sent from heaven unto you, behold, as you're calling, cleanse your hearts and your garments, lest the blood of this generation. See, Bruce R. McConkie was embellishing this, because all I see is that he has the keys of the dispensation to preach the word of the Book of Mormon. I do not see the keys of the kingdom here. And yet, Bruce R. McConkie in the chapter heading, Revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet to Thomas B. Marsh at Kirtland, Ohio, July 23, 1837. The word of the Lord unto Thomas B. Marsh concerning the 12 apostles of the Lamb. To ensure that Mormons aren't confused as to which of the two churches only they are a part of. The prophet records that this revelation was received on the day on which the gospel was first preached in England. No. Wrong. Thomas B. Marsh was at this time president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. They were not in England. Actually, they might. Well, because Heber C. Kimball, because the Kirtland Safety Society was getting sabotaged at this point and into the end of the year and into the next year, where Joseph Smith is accused of stealing people's money when it was the Danites who were taking out the loans and not paying them back, and that's why the Kirtland Safety Society collapsed. And Heber C. Kimball is in the Joseph Smith papers, having come back from his mission, but it's not the... And I can't trust Google search for this. I got to go to the Joseph Smith papers and do more research. So we'll just let that go for now. But they used this for forged documents after the 1838 scandal. And so that's where I'm trying to figure things out, and I don't have the documents in front of me. So anyway. But let's see. Thomas B. Marsh was at this time president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. And so the 12 are to send the gospel and raise the warning voice to all nations and people. They are to take up their cross, follow Jesus. I didn't see Jesus in there. I don't see take up your cross either. Where is it? Oh, yep, here it is. Yeah. No, there's no Jesus. Oh my God. Take up your cross, follow me, and feed my sheep. That's what he's referring to. Not follow Jesus. Feed his sheep. And so, yes, the treasury. Not getting people into the church and so many tangents here. So many tangents. We're almost at 2 hours. Darkness covers the earth, baptized, first presidency, and 12 hold the keys of the dispensation of the fullness of times. You see what he did there? He exalted the 12 beyond what was actually said in the text. You got to pay attention to these guys. They just love to throw stuff in to trick you. For a bit obvious, the prophet to visit the 12 in the future with their wickedness and abominations, turning Joseph's church Christian in England with falsified licenses. Yeah, that's all that was done in Nauvoo after. They were forging the licenses to go to England, forging the licenses of those in the United States, because they thought Joseph was gone. We got rid of him. We're in charge of the church now. And so they were printing all of these forged documents, forged licenses, and they're all in the Joseph Smith papers. That's what's ballsy. I could do balls to the wall for this video. Verily, verily, I send to you, darkness covereth the earth, even gross darkness in the minds of the people. 21, and all flesh hath become corrupt before my face. 22, okay, you're quoting day of wrath, day of burning. 24, and then you put Joseph Smith Papers, page summary, Revelation, section 112. So you do confirm. So I should have clicked on that link, which I can't do with this picture, because that would see the bigger context of the England thing, if that was Joseph's, or if the original document has fresh, brand new ink after faded ink, which means 40 years later. But so I'll have to find. Do I have the? I don't have the video. I cut it off. Which one you're responding to? And I don't think YouTube would have allowed it to be put into the waiting for me to respond file. These are a few thoughts unleashed by your elucidation. Thank you. Christianity holds no candle to the learning of the Jews and language of the Egyptian. Okay, we're done. Whew. So, alrighty.